I'm Eddie.
And I'm Dom.
Welcome to episode 6 of Monsters, Metal, and Moonsaults. Today we're going to be talking about our predictions for AEW Forbidden Door as well as WWE Night of Champions. So let's fucking get into it. I dropped the first F bomb of the day.
I'll make sure I get in there with the fucking second one, so we're good to go. We start getting
I'm
the
sure you were going to get into one anyway. Uh, we
with
we
the
knew this.
natural selection of my vocabulary. Absolutely.
Right. So
Hey, before we go any further, everybody who's paying a quarter of attention, please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. That's what helps us grow. And you can always come back and finish listening to this at your leisure. I'm not showing up at your doorstep like a creep, asking you to watch. Just like, share, and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. So would Ed. I think Ed would appreciate it more than me.
yeah, I would say so. Yeah. I'd appreciate the like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe, share, like, share, subscribe. There was one other one. Oh, save. That's another big one, apparently. Save.
Yeah, save, but yeah, save and forget about it. Because if you save it and forget about it, it stays there even longer, and eventually you come back to it and go, "Oh yeah, these fucking guys. We got to see what they had to say 6 months ago." I'm okay with that.
Right, exactly. But anyway, what do you want to start with? Night of Champions or Forbidden Door?
You choose. Let's get Night of Champions over. Since you asked me, I'll jump on it. Night of Champions, let's get over.
All right, Night of Champions. Let's go. So we got Cody Rhodes versus Gunther versus Sami Zayn. What do you think?
Sami Zayn. I'm so as I said in one of our previous podcasts, Sami Zayn's involved in this finish no matter what, and I'm sure someone's going, "No shit, Sherlock. He's in the fucking triple threat. He can't have something to do with it." Well, what I'm specifically saying is Sami Zayn's either taking the pin or getting the pin. I'm going with getting the pin. I'm going with he's getting the pin over fucking Gunther. And this will help roll into what they're going to do with SummerSlam. I think it's Sammy's night. They're in Saudi Arabia. He's the hometown boy essentially, so it's Sammy's night.
But isn't that the perfect setup since he's the quote unquote hometown boy that he wouldn't win?
Yeah, it is. It's the perfect setup for Gunther to pin him instead of Cody, and Cody to start crying about how he wasn't beat. He wants his rematch. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I really want like I got a 2/3 chance of getting what I want. Either Gunther or Sami Zayn, I would be good with.
As long as it's
Gunther,
not Cody.
Gunther, I really want to win because I think he would have the longer title reign as opposed to Sami Zayn. But I want Sami Zayn to win because I think it would fuck everything up. But watching wrestling for as many decades, I should brace myself for Cody just pinning Gunther, which is, what I don't want, but which is that's usually what happens. So, so 2/3 chance, but there's still in the back of my head thinking Cody just wins like it's, 1985 Hulk Hogan.
So I would, yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I had to fight back a little vomit in my mouth over the idea of Cody winning. So the reason why if I was booking the match, and for anyone listening, I was actually in pro wrestling before everybody knew all the fucking phrases and coolness of it, thanks to the internet.
Meltzer,
Uh,
Meltzer.
Cody, Sami Zayn is the smart choice for the victor. It's going to surprise enough people. It connects to the previous storylines he's had with Gunther, because remember, he's the one who dethroned Gunther as Intercontinental Champ. So, and it opens up fresh matches. Gunther chasing Sammy is, Gunther going after something that he says should be his, him having the angry fits over not winning again or getting screwed, however he gets screwed over at Night of Champions. And if he gets his hands on Sammy and gets the title off of him, it's redemption, going all the way back to Sammy taking the IC title off of Gunther. And Cody Rhodes, let's just go to his dad's booking. The babyface chasing the heel puts asses in seats.
Yep.
So Sami Zayn wins. Cody's got his new complaints. And the storyline they've built with Sammy and Cody is a good one because actually Sammy's the one telling the truth. It's like the Drew McIntyre heel. He's laying down facts that just make people angry because they're facts. Sammy's not
Those
making up. He's not making up bullshit.
those are the best heels.
Yeah. So I think Sam. I actually also think Sammy deserves it. If you look at everything he's done in the company, he deserves it.
Absolutely.
Do I think he deserves a long run? No, and I don't want that to sound disrespectful, but he deserves the title. And I
Well,
think he'd be a good guy. God.
and I think it also if Sammy does win it, I think I don't think it'll be like Vince Senior where he said, okay, Superstar's going to have it on this date, and he's going to lose it to Backlund on this date. I think if Sami Zayn wins it, I think they'll be more open to see how the crowd responds to him. Like they might fucking hate the fact that he won the title, which would open it up for maybe a couple title defenses where
So
they want to see him lose more than they want them to see fucking Otis or somebody win. You know what I mean?
I do, but let me ask you the question on specifics with that. So since they're in Saudi Arabia, are you saying the Saudi crowd will be mad he wins, or do you mean when he come back to America, he's going to get
Generally,
booed?
generally, yeah, he'll get the big pop in Saudi. Then when he
Mm-hmm.
comes back and he starts talking shit, yeah, he doesn't even have to talk shit. He can just show up and they're gonna start booing him.
So who takes the title off him, Gunther or Cody?
I mean, they're not gonna do heel versus heel at SummerSlam,
Why
so
not? Everything's a gray area now.
because they won't do that. You know that.
Okay, so I'll go with your logic on that, and let's fantasy book real quick. SummerSlam. Cody Rhodes is challenging Sami Zayn at SummerSlam for the championship.
It's over.
Say what?
That's over already. I don't really want to see that. I, 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 I want to. I wouldn't mind seeing Sami Zayn win, but I want to see Gunther win just because I think he's great and he deserves a title run, but not if he's going to go to SummerSlam and lose to Cody.
So what I'm thinking is we go back to Sammy wins here at Night of Champions, and Cody's the one who gets the fucking shot, the rematch at SummerSlam. Let's put Gunther on the side for a sec. Cody's in a one-on-one with Sammy, and Sami Zayn retains at SummerSlam. Cody doesn't get the belt back, and he runs through it for another month or so until eventually Gunther gets it because that's who I think is going to get the belt off of Sammy is Gunther. Cody doesn't need the belt for a little bit. Cody could chase it for a little while. He can come back to it in a couple months. And frankly, the way they originally built the Gunther character up, he's Harley Race of the modern day. He's the kind of guy that should get the belt back and hold it for close to a year, pissing the audience off while people chase him.
I would love that. I would love that if he had the belt for that long and kept defending it and kept because he wouldn't be a champ like Roman Reigns where he defended it every 2 to 3 months. He'd be defending it every freaking month.
Yeah, and that's why a year reign would make some sense.
Yeah,
I'll even drop it down to the WWE old school standard of 6 months for like for what they did for so many years after having dynasty championships. So say Gunther's going to have it 6 months. He's going to have three good feuds out of it, and it gives the title credibility. Gunther has credibility. He can lose it to Cody at the Royal Rumble. And I'm picking Cody because he's the golden boy. So he can run through to the Royal Rumble after taking it off of Sammy. Cody gets it back, which sets up their WrestleMania plans. Because, again, it's no slight on Gunther. I like Gunther. I like the fact we have an old school 80s style heel from my childhood in wrestling again.
yeah.
But when it comes to asses and seats, Cody's the better guy to have the belt on going into
Going into what?
WrestleMania.
I don't know. For some reason, I see Cody winning the Royal Rumble and, you know, going on to WrestleMania, winning it again. That's why I'm picking Gunther for this weekend,
Okay, so you got Gunther this weekend. I got Sammy.
right?
Who do you got in Stratton? Who do you got in Stratton versus Cargill? Jay Gigante in
Oh,
the women's champion U.S. title match.
Jade's winning it, definitely.
Yeah, so I think Jay's winning it because they got to get Tiffany back in the main event scene. Um, and I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Tiffany loses because of Chelsea Green.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Their relationship's been interesting, and I don't think it'll be Chelsea deliberately screwing over Tiffany Stratton.
No, it'd be a
I'm
mistake.
more, yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking. It's going to be that comedical mistake because I do think they're legit. That the character they're building for Chelsea right now is to finally take her out of being a comedian full time, but still leave her as a comedical character and put sympathy on her because she was trying to do the right thing by Stratton and screwed her over.
Yeah, I'm not buying it. I think they're just gonna have Jade fucking kill Tiffany Stratton and win the title. That'll be it.
Hey, hey, folks who will listen, I got okay, here's a question for you. Leave it in the comments. Do I overthink these situations and that just gets straight to the point, or what? Let me know in the comments what you think. Because if I
Maybe,
flip a flab, or the jibber jabber too much on the thought process, let me know.
maybe that's the perfect balance, right?
That's a
You're like
concept. You can't have both guys doing the same shit, or it gets boring.
you think about shit, and I'm like, no, fuck that. It's just gonna be this. But I'm actually I've said this to you, and I don't want to spend too much time on it because we got a long way to go. I'm a Jade fan now, and you know how I felt about her.
I do.
Not even a few months ago. I that is one that like there have been several since I got back into wrestling a few years ago that I'm like, I don't like them. But then they grew on me. Jade is the most surprising one. I thought she was finished after Rhea Ripley beat her at WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
I told you, I thought they were just gonna like job her out and get rid of her because she sucked. And then seemed like right after WrestleMania, she she snapped out of it. Her promos are great now, and her in-ring work it's vastly improved.
But the rematch she had with Rhea was better than the WrestleMania match,
Yeah, it was definitely.
and yeah, Jade. I don't think they're done with her. They're done with her as a world champ, but putting the U.S. title on her makes sense. I was telling you at the beginning of all her booking, that's what they should have done with her from the start. Was a mid card title, not the fucking world championship, and kept building her up. Um, and if you look at her and where she's at right now, she has improved in the ring. Can't believe what's she in the WWE 3 years already
Yeah.
or longer. So man, time flies when you get fucking old. But if you look at who's with her right now, Meacham and BFAB,
Oh
and
God.
again, no, I know no slight on them at this point because they're winning matches, but they are a a solid mid card female heel stable,
Well, just
and
call him something already.
stable.
Like they're. Oh wow, that's wow. You really dug deep into your thoughts for that one. The
I
stable.
could, I could get.
Watch SmackDown will come up and it'll be like, oh, they're calling themselves the stable.
Hey man, you called division before it was division,
Yeah, that's
so
true.
and I told you you should sue for copyright infringement. Start with Google. Uh, if you
Uh,
call them the same, whatever, Card Hills Angels, whatever the fuck it is. Oh, wait, they have a name. It's the Baddies or something like that. I think that's the name of the stable. It's the Baddies.
oh God. Okay.
But again, fans, I'm not as much into modern wrestling as I am the classic. Ed's more up to times with these things. In case you're wondering, what did he know? Um,
Yeah, it's not like I put on JSG on YouTube every fucking night to watch Mid-Atlantic Wrestling
yeah,
from
but
1983.
you're still more up to snuff on Raw and SmackDown and stuff than I am.
Yeah, that's
Um,
true.
you
True.
actually make it through the entire show. I don't.
I do some zipping through.
You do, yeah. You do zipping through. I do skippity doo dah.
I do some zipping through. But again,
I
at the same time, I mean, when I'm watching new wrestling, I'm also, I have half screen on my computer is that, and half screen on my computer is whatever else. So I'm watching, but I'm, doing other shit. So
so since we got so you've got we both have Jade in that match, correct?
yeah,
All right, yeah, and it's no slight on Stephanie.
Tiffany. That's the work of screwdrivers, ladies and gentlemen. Stephanie.
Stratton, it's no slight on Stratton. Um, the lady is incredibly talented, but I think they put the belt on Jade, and Stratton gets loosened up to go after bigger prizes down the road. She's a world champion. Um,
I don't know if she's incredibly talented.
anyway, let's get the men's U.S. championship. Trick Williams and Ricky Saints.
That's
Who do you got?
Trick's winning that. I don't think Trick is in that world title picture yet, only for the fact that the world title picture is crowded right now.
It's crowded and it's missing a couple of their already established main eventers in CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Yeah,
So I'm going with Trick retaining as well because um, I just am. I'm going with Trick retaining as well. It's too soon to take the U.S. title off of him, and what you were just alluding to is something I agree with. It's one of those things where when you take the big card title off a certain guy, you know he's going on to bigger things.
right.
Kind of like they did with the Macho Man, like they did with Bret Hart,
Stone Cold.
Shawn Michaels, Stone Cold.
Yeah,
They all went on to the bigger title. Trick is that kind of guy, and I don't see it being time for Trick to be in that position yet. So if he was to lose the title, they need to have another feud waiting for him that makes sense that will continue to build his character to the next level. Uh, and honestly, it's not, Ricky Saints. I don't see the crowd giving enough of a crap about him yet to put a
right.
title on him. Trick got naturally turned. They brought him up as a heel, and the crowd's like, nope, we want to whoop that Trick.
And they're not doing that for Ricky Saints. So
They're not. So they're not doing that for Ricky. And I think Trick retains in the next match we get at SummerSlam. It's Trick and Carmelo. And if you look back on the stuff they did in NXT, both being friends and enemies,
yep.
they'll have an excellent match for SummerSlam.
I
And you want the
I
best things on SummerSlam possible.
I think that that Trick versus Saints. I'm gonna go with Trick winning, but some sort of controversy involved that brings them back for a rematch before SummerSlam.
Okay.
Just to, just to occupy Trick's time until SummerSlam, where, yeah, Carmella Hayes is the obvious choice. But that could be a triple threat. You never know.
SummerSlam, we're in the rematch process.
What do you mean?
Meaning, do you see a triple threat between Carmelo, Trick, and Saints prior to SummerSlam, or is that
Nah,
what you think
at
they go to do at
SummerSlam.
SummerSlam? At
At
SummerSlam?
SummerSlam. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
What about Oba versus Jay? King of the Ring final.
So if I was booking the match, I have Oba win. Excuse me, I have Oba Femi win. If I was booking the match, and Brock Lesnar ruins his title shot at SummerSlam. But what makes more sense to everything currently going on? Um, let me retract that. That was an old thought. I retract that. I strike that from the record. If I was booking the match, Oba loses here because of Brock Lesnar. So they could set up the SummerSlam match between him and Brock Lesnar for the third time.
Yes, without a doubt. And honestly, I want Jey Uso to win just because it would piss off so many people. There are so many people down on Jey Uso right now, and I know he's not fucking Ric Flair or Shawn Michaels in the ring, but that dude, like that promo he did with Oba this past Monday, it was pretty fucking great. I mean, it was believable.
Mhm.
Um, his thing, I mean, with all the diehard wrestling fans, quote unquote, we're slash they're just sick of the eating and the super kicks and shit like that. But I don't have a problem with him winning as long as, Jey Uso wins. It's not going to be because he speared him a couple times. Something's going to happen there with Brock Lesnar. It's got to happen. It only makes sense. Oba's been calling out Brock Lesnar. We're leading up to SummerSlam. It's in Minnesota, which I don't think is as big of a factor as people are thinking it's going to be. But it only makes sense that it's going to be Oba against Brock. And why would you have the King of the Ring? You know, you're not going to fight. He's going to challenge a champion. So what are you going to do with Brock if he's calling him out? It only makes sense.
So it does make sense, which is why I'm worried they're not going to do it.
I know. Me too.
And they go the opposite direction and TKO is like, we surprised everybody. So, I don't know why fans have expectations. They
Yeah.
shouldn't have expectations.
It
They should be
it's
glad
gonna
with what they get.
it'll be like Jay will win, but it'll be because Solo fucks with Oba.
Yeah, exactly. Some shit like that. So you're picking Jay to win, correct?
Oh yeah. Yep. Without a
I'm
doubt.
pick I'm picking Jay to win, and it sounds like we both got the same reason. Brock Lesnar is the third factor in the match, correct?
Right. Yep.
All
Yeah.
right. So Jay wins because of outside interference, Brock Lesnar. So first is who's Jay going to challenge at SummerSlam? That's what I ask you on that, based on him winning. And the next one is the two-part question. What if Oba does win? What if they do swerve us? Oba wins the whole thing. What does that mean for him and Brock? Did they hold that off after SummerSlam, or does somehow Brock get involved in SummerSlam and we get a fucking triple threat match?
That's why I don't see
Oh
it going
God.
any other way than Brock Lesnar interfering this weekend.
Yeah.
It can't go any other way. It only makes sense.
Okay. So the other part of the question before wait, we'll come back to the other part of the question. Does Brock interfere before the match, during the match?
No, it'll be during the match. Ref will get knocked out. You know, Brock will invade. Couple F5s. Jay wins. Something like that.
Okay. I can see that. Um, I think it's gonna be one of those things that WWE's been, seems to be into doing lately. Brock's in the crowd. We don't get the Brock Lesnar music or anything. Brock shows up at an audience, and down goes fucking Oba to an F5 on the steps or through the fucking table, tossed in the ring. Jay looks around like, goody goody, look at me, up to the top. Uso
Splash.
splash,
Yep.
uno dos tres. So I see him winning. Now goes in back to the second part of that question. Who's he going to challenge? Are they going to do him and Omen? Did it Omen? Did they run back him and Roman again? And if so, how and why?
How would he? So Jey Uso wins the King of the Ring, and then he automatically thinks to himself, "Well, I should be the head of the table." I don't think it's going to be Cody. It wouldn't be Cody because Roman's talking too much about you're going to win the King of the Ring and go on to fight Cody.
Right.
There's two ends at the head of the table. That was one of his quotes, or something like that.
Plus, neither one of us think Cody's leaving with the title
At SummerSlam or this weekend.
this weekend, man.
Yeah, that's true, man. That's true.
We both have Cody going into SummerSlam without the title. Of course, it's time for him to get it back, but we both have him going into SummerSlam titleless.
Well, right. So that only makes sense that Jay would go after Roman.
Then that's what I think too. That's what I think too is Roman. It'll be a Monday Night Raw thing where, Roman's like, congratulations, go get Cody. And the next thing is a super kick to the chin and he's after Roman again, which they're going to have to do a lot of explanation to that though, based upon the current storyline with the fucking Usos and Roman and the bloodline being back together. They're going
Hang
to
on,
need
Oos.
to explain
Hang on, Oos. Hang on. I
that.
didn't say I was talented, Cody. You're just assuming that, Oos.
Yeah. What makes you think that was my decision, Oos? Here's how it is, Oos. Yeet.
Maybe I want to be the head of the table.
It
Maybe
makes
it's
sense
my
for
time to be the head of the table.
it makes sense for them to run back him and Roman in SummerSlam.
Yeah.
And it's been a few years since they've done it, so it's a bit of a fresh match. I'm not really ready to get into the discussion of what does that mean for Jay or what else they're doing with the bloodline, but it leads me into the idea that there will be a higher power in the bloodline coming down the road that's pulling the strings above Roman. And we get Jay and Roman at SummerSlam.
Oh boy.
Roman retains. I still see Roman holding the belts. And I don't know if you're old boys about what you think my prediction will be for down the road, or Roman winning, but I've already alluded to this before. I think this is all going to tie into the fucking Rock
Yep.
and the Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania.
I don't
So
I, I don't think he's well, if it's that Saudi money, he
yeah,
may because I just saw The Rock. He did some thing recently and it was somebody who had a phone video and he's smaller, but he could still pass as a professional wrestler. So I'm
I'm
not
I'm
ruling
I'm,
that
I'm
anyway. But why are The Rock and Roman Reigns gonna wrestle?
the all head of the table thing. It's got to do with the main tribal chief thing. It's what they were supposed to do a couple years ago, and who's calling the shots. If you think about what happened with Dwayne when he came back for the Cody angle and they did the tag match, it was originally supposed to be him versus Roman in that year, and he ran everything. Go back to that storyline. He's the one
Yeah,
calling all the shots, not
yep,
Roman.
right.
Roman is the secondary guy next to him.
Yep.
The Rock is the one calling all the shots. So The Rock can come out and be like, remember, he's the final boss. He just has to be the final boss again and remind Roman, I'm the final boss, not you. So Jacob Fatu, Jay Uso, um, I'm not sure about Solo right now because of him spiking Jay this week. All this confusion comes to an end when The Rock comes back. I'm looking at pictures of Dwayne Johnson right now. And yeah, he looks smaller, but he's chiseled like a motherfucker still. He can
Yeah.
he can get in the it reminds me of, you know, he does look small. He's got that Batista thing going on right now with what he's lost for mass. But if he wanted to put the mask back on, he has the time and the ability to do so. And go into a fucking training program for, 2 months, gain 20 pounds worth of mass, and he's good.
There might be a little bit of mass coming from some.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But either way, he looks like a guy in our age bracket, which he is, who's fit. He shouldn't who doesn't have the mass he had when he was in his fucking 20s and 30s.
But he's
He
still
still
ripped.
looks good. Yeah, he's still ripped. He's still getting the ring. And it's still The Rock. And he's still gonna have that charisma. He
And
can
the
be smaller and still have that charisma. That's what
and the thing
matters.
the thing is too that being that he's smaller, it'd probably be less of a strain on his body to do a whole match by himself as opposed to a tag team match.
I'm gonna side quest this right here as I look at the current now picture of Dwayne Johnson. If you look at it, he actually finally starting to look like he's related to the Wild Samoans.
Interesting, because he's old now.
Yeah, because he's in our age bracket now. He's starting to look more like a Wild Samoan. The
Right.
younger one, the younger he was, the more he looked like his dad, Rocky Johnson.
What about EO versus Liv Morgan?
I pick EO to win Um, and unfortunately, I think they're going to book her to challenge Liv at SummerSlam, at which point she'll lose. What I would do, and what I think makes more sense, booking wise, grabbing attention wise, etc., is Io goes over Liv and she challenges Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam because she's beat Rhea every time. It adds into the storyline. She's picking Rhea because she thinks she can beat her. And then we go to SummerSlam and Rhea finally gets a win over Io to defend her title.
I'm not gonna go that deep into the prediction for SummerSlam yet because it's 2 fucking months away. But
You're welcome.
I definitely see EO winning. I don't. I'm getting sick of Liv Morgan, by the way, and I can't believe that because she's from Fairlawn or Leonia, New Jersey. But still, I'm sick of her. Her and her stupid fucking laugh and her stupid song. Like, god damn it, man! Like that's one of the worst vocal performances of all time that I've ever heard on a song. But because she's like, it's terrible. So yeah, Io's got to go over because that's the more intriguing matchup, and is Io versus Rhea, and plus, since it's 2 nights, Liv's got to defend against somebody too. So hopefully it'll be
Yeah,
Roxanne Perez or Raquel Rodriguez.
you know, with that concept, it is 2 nights. And like I said, we're not going to go into SummerSlam, but here we are. Um, uh, Liv Morgan versus Roxanne Perez, excuse me, versus Raquel Rodriguez should be happening. But I would actually expect her to go against Roxanne Perez first, and
Yes.
they drag out the Raquel Rodriguez Big Mommy Cool split a little bit longer because they haven't done enough for that to actually sever correctly. And if anyone out there wants to draw the parallels, it's supposed to be basically Shawn and Diesel,
Yep.
Shawn Michaels and Diesel again with a female with living fucking Rodriguez, and they got it. They're just not doing it right. As far as I'm concerned, they haven't been doing it right. That they could really be the female version of Shawn Michaels and Diesel, and you could have the same kind of fucking split. And Raquel could go babyface, even though I think she's better than as a heel. And, it's the natural storyline progression.
At least right now, she's better as a heel. Yes.
Yes, currently you're
But
right.
I mean, I've never booked shit in my life other than some fantasy wrestling shit. But we've talked about this. I would have Raquel like never hit the mat, stay on her feet, stay on her feet for entire matches. Then when a big moment comes, you've seen it a bunch of times. She clotheslines her again, and she's not off her feet, and then she finally, whoever she's fighting, knocks her off her feet. They should have her as like that, you know, that type of giant type, which you don't usually see in women wrestlers.
No,
They,
you don't, because you don't have a chance to see it in a woman wrestler, and now you do.
I think Big Show, like the way they book Big Show, like just spoiled that. Like there's no more giants. The only reason giants exist are to put smaller wrestlers over.
Big Show could have been Andre the Giant 2.0, and they didn't do the right thing with him. But we could do a podcast about the show because, well, half of one at least.
Maybe a third
Even
of
though it's a
one.
big, a third one. We could talk. Well, fuck it. The Big Show could do things Andre could not do,
Yeah, of
like
course.
like a fucking standing drop kick and top rope drop kicks. But the WWE, his attitude had a lot to do with it. When he came into the WWE, his ego was big, and they had to chop him down.
Cocky as a
And when it,
motherfucker. Yeah.
yeah, and he's talked about it in his own interviews. Paul White, he said, well, my very first match against Hulk Hogan, and I beat him.
Right.
So when you build like that, you're gonna have. I guess it would probably happen to me too. If you threw me in the ring against fucking Hulk Hogan in 1997 in my first match and I won, I'd be like, I'm the fucking shit. I'm the man. You know, even though it was a lame ass DQ win, it's still he went over against Hogan and walked away with the title. So, and plus, even if you lost to Hogan, that's your first fucking feud in wrestling is with
Yep.
Hulk Hogan. So that screams all kinds of plans for you in the future. I remember when he showed up in the WWF, and I was like, oh shit, cool, because I was aching for new talent over there and want to see unhappy WCW guys go to the WWF. I was,
Yep.
you know, at that point, but to keep it short, they turned him into the guy, as you just said, who got little dudes over. Um, I don't know how, I'm sure you're familiar with it, but if the fans aren't, go out there and look up the Big Show, Rey Mysterio, and every encounter they ever had, and then look up Chris Lambleby and his interview with Rey Mysterio, and listen to Rey Mysterio talk about his working with the Big Show to get an understanding of how good the Big Show actually is
Huh.
with who he works with. Because Rey's talks about how he's never got hurt. Look at the size difference and the things the show did to him. Rey's never got hurt. So, so the thing is, everyone's all these fans out there today who are happy. Oh, the curtains pulled back. And when you judge how good a wrestler is in the ring, most of us are judging it on what we see on TV. But from being in the ring myself, another perspective to judge things on is nobody getting hurt.
Right. Yep.
Like show doesn't hurt people. Another one day we'll do a cast about this, Ed, if you're down. The best big man in wrestling. I mean, that should be a given. Yeah, I got to throw Yokozuna on that list.
Definitely.
Because how big he was, how fast he moved, and he never hurt anybody.
Yep.
But back to the topic at hand before I stray us into the oceans of a mess. Steel cage match, Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. Who are you going with and why?
I honestly I have no idea about this one. Somebody's I think somebody's going over clean.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not sure who it's going to be, but I'm leaning towards Seth only because Braun Breaker seems to get the better of him every fucking time they're on camera together. So eventually you gotta pay it off. But at the same time, I'm thinking, all right, WWE knows that Seth's getting a little older. He's accumulated some injuries, not going to be around as long. Braun Breaker's the up and coming guy. Let's put him over. But I'm not sure. I'm torn on this one. I'm leaning towards Seth, but it's not, I'm not writing it in pen quite yet.
So I'm going with Seth. I'm going with Seth because, as you just said, on TV, Braun's been laying Seth out the whole time. But when it comes to the matches, Seth is the one coming out on top. I think he lost the first one, but he won the last one.
Yeah.
He seems to be ahead in the feud right now. And the vision is blinded as far as I'm concerned. But another conversation. I just don't, I could go off on the vision right now, but specifically talking about Braun Breaker, I actually think the best thing to do is for Braun Breaker to lose this match. He loses this match. He flips the fuck out on Paul Heyman afterwards and everybody and says, I don't need you fucks. You're the reasons I'm being held back. He turns babyface and he goes on his run. The crowd wants to cheer him. He doesn't need Paul Heyman at this point. And it's no slight on fucking Heyman. You look at what he does for everybody he works with, but the vision's cursed. I feel like Braun's held back in the vision, and the best thing to do for him is to break him away from that group. And how do you do it? He loses to Seth. He comes out, is done with the vision, and goes on his own and starts smashing people out, and eventually gets up to Seth again, and takes Seth out and can move on.
Well, the only thing that preventing me from thinking like that is that until Logan Paul comes back, are they going to be a team that like re-challenges the the Profits, or they just, they threw Braun in there one time, and then that's going to be it. They're just going to move on to other shit. And if so, what's left of the Vision other than Austin Theory?
I don't think Austin Theory is a guy who I could see being released one day because every time they bring him around, do something with him, it doesn't click. They've missed opportunities with him. He got hurt when he had his best opportunities. He beats John Cena. They don't capitalize on it.
Oh,
He
yeah.
starts taking on a comedy role as a bit of a babyface with the Australian cat. Help me with his name right now. He went to New Day. Um,
Waller,
his name,
Grayson Waller.
yes, with Grayson. So he uh he could have become a babyface in that situation, and he ends up getting hurt, and then they separate the whole thing out. He doesn't fit division. It's nothing against him. The guy's excellent in the ring. I just don't think the WWE's ever fucking known what to do with him really. So Logan Paul being hurt, Seth has to fill in. Excuse me, uh, Braun fills in a tag title run. Them taking the belts off them made sense because that's not what was supposed to be going on. You
Right.
put them on the Profits. You reestablish some credibility to the tag titles. The way I see Ron Breaker winning is a returning Tsunami Slammer, and he shows up. Um,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
I think
Um,
that's how Braun wins. Is the Tsunami Man shows up. We get a Tsunami Splash, and Braun Breaker wins, and then we can reestablish the vision with them. Bronson Reed. For anyone who thinks I don't know who it is.
so then we go into a feud with Seth Rollins and Bronson Reed.
No, we go into a fucking then we have an unhealthy Logan Paul, so you could put him on the side. Now you got Austin Theory, Bronson Reed, and Breaker. You got three healthy guys that can feud with Seth and the Profits, and then you could do that. But honestly, I'm over it. You know, it's the vision is a failure because the guys, everyone's gotten,
Yeah,
and it's almost a year they've got the group going. It'll be a year right after SummerSlam. It's time to split it up. Actually, it's about a year right now. So it hasn't worked, and it comes a point where you got to go. We got to cut this. Even with Paul Heyman being involved, it's got nothing to do with Paul. It's injuries. These are all legitimate injuries of people getting hurt. So it might be best to split them up. I don't think Logan Paul needs a voice. People hate that dude naturally. Uh, Austin Theory doesn't need Paul Heyman because I don't see Austin Theory and Paul Heyman clicking, but I could see Austin Theory doing better by himself. The only guy out of that group, the only guys who I think Heyman can help benefit is Braun and Bronson. And if you do what I was saying earlier, you have fucking Breaker lose and go babyface after that. That gives you Bronson Reed and Paul Heyman. Um,
mm.
and I just don't see that being really worth the time. So the best thing that I think can happen is that the division as a group, Bronson comes back. They put Bronson, Breaker, Theory together, and then they have Logan Paul healing, and then you got the four guys that we're going to go with after they kick Seth out back together, and they try to get it to work with that group. But otherwise, it's time to split them up. It's time to split them up.
Well, they've been hinting now for several weeks, and even Logan Paul's back on TV. I don't know how far he is away from actually being in the ring, but the Joe Hendry thing too, because there's shit going on with him and Logan Paul. And there was a post on Instagram today. It was an official WWE post, and it was the Street Profits, Seth, and Joe Hendry and they were all wearing red suits, which
Really?
is telling me that something's going on there.
Okay.
So we'll see. But I mean, we could, we what did we say? What was your pick? Braun or Seth?
I've got Seth.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah,
Same here.
I've got Seth. So, you know, with a crude cut, let's jump over to AEW. This is a very busy weekend for wrestling.
Jeez.
Um, TNA doesn't exist in my world, so we'll skip over that and go over into the AE of W.
Actually, you know what? We're gonna speak briefly on Slammiversary.
Okay, everybody,
So
listen. This is news to me. What's up?
this is yep, it is news. I'm springing some shit on Dom that he didn't know. That's how we do it here, folks. We just shoot from the hip. You never know what's
Yeah,
gonna happen. We're like Monday Night Raw during the Attitude Era. You never there could be a milk bath, there could be a beer bath, there could be a Jello match between Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson. You never know what's gonna happen.
yeah, there's some Jerry Springer shit. So, so what does the DNA test say for me?
What?
You were bringing up a bunch of raw shit, and I said, yeah, Jerry Springer style shit. And then my response was, what does the DNA test say about me?
Well, shit. I mean, Jerry Springer was as East Coast as Sabrett hot dogs for a while, you know?